So yeah, now I'm here. Now I'm talking to you guys. So how's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Good, good. So I have to commend the school because when I was in high school, like 9 years ago, um, we didn't have this. We didn't have a setup like this. So I didn't get started doing anything broadcast related until I got to college. So I went to the University of Missouri. Go Tigers. Um, Graduated there 5 years ago, so not too long ago. Um, Studied radio, television, so it's pretty cool seeing the radio setup back there. I worked for anybody listen to NPR? Okay, yeah, we had an NPR station in Columbia where I went to school, and I worked there for like a semester. So did some radio there. We had our own. It's funny. It's Missouri is one of the few schools to have their own owned and operated um, network affiliate station. We had an NBC TV station that the school owned and operated. So we were the reporters. We were the guinea pigs, I guess I would say, going out chasing stories. And it's funny because our professors were the people who were anchoring and the people who were um, approving our stories and producers and things like that. So it was a really unique setup. Those were people that went out and got into the business and were in TV in all different kind of areas, and they decided that they wanted to come back and teach guys like me and things like that. So it was a fun setup. And I actually have a funny story. So I graduated back in 2012, and then I actually did not get a job in the TV industry right away. Believe it or not, I worked for an unemployment office for like a year and a half before I got my first job in TV. And so I worked there for a year and a half. It was kind of weird. I always knew I wanted to get back into it. So I went there to Kansas. I finally got a break in Kansas as a camera guy. And then I kept bugging and bugging and bugging the station management. And they finally let me get on TV, which is what I wanted to do. And I became a sports reporter out there and ended up here. Actually was out of the business for about 6 months before I came here in Dayton as well. I ended up working at a nonprofit back at home until this opportunity came along. And so now I'm here talking to you guys, looking sleepy at me this morning. So, so yeah, I do sports at Fox 45. You all had kind of a big game a couple weeks ago, right? Just a little game, something like that. Did you guys happen to win or something like that? Maybe. Yeah. So I was there. We had the Thursday Night Lights broadcast. It was a lot of fun. You guys. That was one of the most incredible games I think I've seen in quite some time. So that was a lot of fun. I was roaming the sidelines, talking to fans, talking to coaches, and any different little nugget that I could give to the broadcast. I was basically like the black male Aaron Andrews, I guess I would say. So roaming the sidelines. So. And then I actually had to go back and anchor that night too. So I left at halftime. So I caught the rest of the game on TV. I didn't get to stay for the whole thing, but that was incredible when he missed the field goal. It was pretty lit. Yeah. So, anybody have any questions for me, really quick? What you got? Say it again. I can't hear you. Oh, I like the area. So how far is Alta from you guys? So you are like legit crosstown rivals, basically. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm trying to still get acclimated to the area and find my way around. Still using the GPS a lot. I don't like to use the GPS because I just like to know where I'm going and just go there. But still using it a lot, and I'm liking the area so far. So far, so good. What about you?
You ever had like any bloopers when you're on TV?
Oh my gosh, I have all the bloopers. I had one time in college, we do, you know how before they go to commercial break, they'll pitch out to someone, they'll say, I'll say like, hey, I'm Reggie, after the break we'll do such and such. Well, they came to me and I didn't know that I was on, and like they came to me, I'm like in the middle of like belching, I'm like, and and then they were like, you're on. I was like, hi, and I could just hear like them in my ear just laughing. I was like, coming up, we'll do this. And like they went back to the studio, and the anchors were just like cracking up. They just thought it was the funniest thing. It was so embarrassing, but that's one of like many bloopers. I think I probably have like a blooper a day. It's not as glamorous as most people might think. I mess up quite a bit. We messed up quite a bit last night. So mess ups are, they happen often, but it's how you rebound. It's how you rebound. Anybody else?
Go back to Reggie. So what's been your favorite thing you like had to report on? Like the most fun working on?
So I'm very much a people person. I like meeting people. If I wasn't up talking to you guys, I'd probably be sitting right there or right there, just like, talking it up with you guys. So any people that I can meet, and, in our business, we like to believe that everybody has a story. Even I have a story. It's pretty unique. Everybody has a story. So it's our job to figure out what that story is and tell other people, because, the more we can tell people, the more, we just know as a society. And so I like to talk to people, and I think, for one, I got into sports because news can be kind of depressing sometimes. You could probably look on our page and see all kinds of just like crime and searching for suspects, Hurricane Irma, police shoot armed. Like it's just nothing but just, it could be depressing. So I like sports because usually we have more fun than we do, bad. And the occasional times we have some stories where, you know, when I was out in Kansas, one of the bigger stories I did was a kid was on the brink of breaking a school record for points in a basketball career, and his dad passed away right before the season, and it was tough because it was like here he is on the brink of a milestone personally and for the school. He'll be in the school history books forever. And, his dad, who was his biggest supporter, who never missed a game, now he wasn't there anymore. And so, but telling that story connected with a lot of people. People experience loss, people experience, the highs and lows of life. And, when people see things like that, they can connect. So I feel like when I tell stories, it's a way of me connecting one person to another, because we all tend to, find commonalities with sports. So. Anybody else? What you got?
What kind of watch is that?
This old thing? It's a Kenneth Cole. My mom got it for me for Christmas like a couple years ago. Yeah. Anybody else? You got something?
Has anyone told you you kind of look like Patrick Ewing?
Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
Is it because I'm tall?
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'll take it. I've never gotten that before, but I'm actually surprised you know who Patrick Ewing is. That's impressive. All right. Anybody else? What
Did you
got?
like know going into college like what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I grew up in a household that always watched the news. Like when I got up in the morning, my mom was watching the Today Show. She would take me over to my grandparents' house. My grandfather always was watching the news. So it was always on. And so I would look at it and I say, oh, okay, that seems pretty cool. And then as I got older, I got into, sports and things like that. And I was like, maybe I can marry the two. And, of course, everybody watches SportsCenter. They're like, oh, I want to do that one day, So SportsCenter is not necessarily the goal these days, but I think going into it, it was something that I wanted to do. And then you know, at Mizzou, they do a really good job of like trying to weed you out if you don't want to do it. They throw all these hard classes at you. Like, why am I taking geometry? What does that have to do with being on TV? And you know, they try to make sure if you really want to do it, because the business is tough. You know, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that deter people, and you know, there's you know, you have long days. We had usually my Friday nights we have our football Friday show. I'm there from about 3 o'clock until about we were there till about 2 in the morning, just getting everything online because people want to see the highlights. How did this school do? How did the rival school do this weekend? You know, things like that. So, but getting back to your question, yeah. I did know pretty much that I wanted to go into that, and I think I picked a pretty good school to try to, you know, find my way in that. So, yeah. Anybody else? Did you have your hand up over here?
Yeah.
What's up? What you got?
Do you like the Kansas City Chiefs?
They're cool. They're cool. um, they're cool. I like them. Back in Kansas, we didn't have a pro team. So Kansas City, the Chiefs, the Royals and the Chiefs, they were the closest pro team. So I kind of got acclimated to them quite a bit.
Do you like the Royals?
I like the Royals, yeah. Yeah, they grew on me in my time out there. Not more than the Cardinals, of course, but yeah. I'm still actually looking for an NFL team, so if anybody has any suggestions. You said, what was that?
That was pretty awesome team. They just beat the Patriots.
Yeah, I saw that. That was great. I actually hate the Patriots, so I'm a Rams. I was a Rams fan, and they beat us in the Super Bowl. I've never let them, you know, go from that. I still hold a grudge. I think they cheated. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Marshall Faulk said they cheated, so I believe him. But so the Rams left us though, so I'm still looking for a football team. So if anybody has any suggestions on the team.
Yeah.
Have
Have you ever met anyone famous?
I ever met anyone famous? I guess I would have to know who would you consider famous? I met Braxton Miller when I first got here. He's pretty famous, I guess, these days. Let's see.
Tonight, the Franklin Pickle game, or was that last night?
It's tonight.
So Luke Kennard's going to be there.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Tweeted that he was going to be there.
Oh, well, I won't be there, so I won't meet him. So have to wait on that, I guess. I met some people before that, you know, you might see on TV. I don't know if anybody watches like Sports Center at night. Stan Verrett and Neil Everett. I met Stan a couple years ago, so that was pretty cool. Let's see, the Royals general manager. Most people don't know the guys behind the scenes, but I met him. He's from Kansas, so I don't know why I'm drawing a blank at people that I've met, but I've met some people. I can't remember. All these days just go together. So today is Friday, right? It still feels like Thursday to me, so I don't know. Anybody have anything else?
Like, who is your idol? Like, who like inspired you to do this?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Growing up, you know, you watch a lot of TV. And so, wow. There's a guy in St. Louis that he actually went to Mizzou. His name is Art Holliday, and he did the morning show all while I grew up. And so he started off doing sports before he switched to doing news. And so he was one of the inspirations for me. If anybody watches NFL Network, Rich Eisen, really love him. He's great. I'm really laid back, and he's kind of laid back too, so I feel like I can relate. And he showed me that laid back people can work in TV, so I like Rich. Let's see, who else do I like? Oh, anybody play NBA 2K? So the voice of NBA 2K is Kevin Harlan. I met him actually. That's a famous person that I met. Met him earlier this year. I really like him too. He's an inspiration. And then Gus Johnson. I don't know if anybody remembers. Gus Johnson he used to call all the college basketball games in the tournament, and he's always yelling. He's just always yelling about stuff. So he called the UCLA game last weekend, and he was just yelling. It's like, Dan Marino would be so proud right now. He's just hyped. So I really like him as well. So anybody else?
What's your favorite part about being on screen?
You know, that's weird. I feel like you can't answer that without sounding like so vain. Oh, I just love the camera, you know. No, but I think it's just the opportunity to connect with people. You know, when you're on camera, you know, you can connect with people all across the Miami Valley at the same time. And, you know, you may not be able to meet everybody, you know, at one point or, you know, at one time, but when people see you on TV, it allows you to connect with them, you know, at once. And so I think that's the part that I like, because people will come up to you sometimes and say, "Hey, Reggie." I'm like, "Who are you?" But, you know, they've seen me on, you know, on TV. And, you know, depending on how I present things, it makes them more comfortable with, you know, me as a person, to where people can come up and say, "Hey, nice to meet you." And like I said, I'm a people person, so I like to be approached by people. I like, you know, to meet people and, you know, just see what's going on with them. So I think that would probably be my favorite part.
How nervous were you, like, first time you were on TV?
Oh my gosh, I get nervous every time. Every time before they're like, "Reggie, go," I'm like, "Oh, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up." So, and I just try to, you know, yeah, so anyway, you know, this is what's happening tonight. You know, I just try to, you know, compose myself. I don't think you ever not get nervous, or at least ever, I don't think that rush of adrenaline ever leaves you, because it's like when you know a camera is on you live, you're like, "Oh my goodness," like, you know, you kind of hyped up about it. And so I don't think you ever stop really truly being nervous per se. But I think the first time I was nervous was my first time ever reporting, because there's so many things in play you don't want to mess up, you know, because you'll add to that blooper reel, like I was saying, and just, you know, you just want to do a good job and kind of prove that you can do it. So nerves are always there. What's up?
Okay, last question, then I want to make sure we get a picture with you, because our bell's coming in about 4 minutes.
Okay.
All right. When was the last time you were on live?
On live? Oh, last night. We had Thursday Night Lights, and I do sidelines, and so they come to me live at least once a quarter. So I was live, you know, all last night during our broadcast. Somebody didn't watch. It's okay. You can watch next week. Yeah.
All right.
Or you can watch tonight, Football Friday show.
I'm going to try to get in a picture, as many of you can, and get a picture.
I'm scared.
Well, I am from St. Louis, by way of Kansas. I worked in Kansas before I came here. Out in Wichita. Anybody ever been to Kansas? What part?
Wichita.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I lived out in Wichita, came here from there, and then I did sports out there, and now I do sports here. Hopefully you guys watch sometimes, maybe. You guys are staring at me like, I don't watch the news. That's okay. That's okay. Well, so I went to the University of Missouri. Anybody like Mizzou at all? Maybe a little bit? Yeah. Our quarterback threw 7 touchdowns on Saturday. Watch out. So I went to the University of Missouri, studied radio, television. Had a similar setup to what you all have back there in the radio room. We didn't have this in high school. I was telling the last group, we didn't have anything like this. So I didn't start doing TV type stuff until I got to college. So at Mizzou, we had a owned and operated NBC TV station, and so I worked there. I did we couldn't do sports until we did news for like 10 weeks. So I had to do news for 10 weeks, reported on things like tornadoes and property damage and, all kinds of crazy stuff. And then I was able to move on to sports, and I covered some Mizzou stuff, covered a lot of high school stuff. And then, so my story is kind of different than most people. So when I graduated from Mizzou back in 2012, I actually didn't get a job in the TV business right away. It was kind of hard back then, but I was out of TV for about a year and a half. I actually worked at an unemployment office, out of all things. And so I worked there for a year and a half, finally got on at the station in Wichita as a camera guy. I just did the camera for other people. And then I bugged the news management, bugged them. I want to do TV. And so they finally let me do TV. They shipped me to this small town in western Kansas called Dodge City. And I reported sports out there. So any given day, I was maybe like 15 minutes to 2 hours away covering sports. So I was pretty much the guy out there covering sports. So, and then ended up here. So, so you all had kind of a big game a couple weeks ago. Was it? I don't know if it was. It wasn't too much of a big deal, was it? Nothing like that. Yeah. So yeah, we had that on our Thursday night lights, and I was doing sidelines for that game. It was an incredible game. I caught the end of the game at work though, because I had to leave because I had to anchor sports that night. So I saw the missed field goal on TV. I actually watched it happen live. So that was a pretty lit game, huh? Yeah. So usually I do sidelines on Thursday nights for football. I report during the week, and I anchor sports on the weekends. I don't know if any of you actually watch on the weekends. What do you guys do these days? You all don't watch the news, I'm sure. Did somebody say sleep? Okay. All right, sleep is good. Sleep is good. All right, so I actually wanted to kind of show you guys a story. I did a story earlier this week, and it can kind of show you guys what I usually do on a semi-daily basis. It took some time, but we got it, finally. Okay, here we go.
Hannah Ross is your typical everyday mom. She holds the family down.
Everything's really healthy here at the house.
While her husband Kenneth often travels for work.
Ellie was in first grade.
Up until this year, Hannah even homeschooled their 3 kids.
I miss being home.
She made some big sacrifices to leave the corporate world and come home and be a stay-at-home mom.
But way before her mom duties start for the day, you can catch Hannah training right here down in the basement at 5 a.m. The 41-year-old Dayton Christian grad will be representing the U.S. as an amateur at the Half Ironman competition this Saturday in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The race consists of a 1.2-mile swim, a 56-mile bike ride, and a 13.1-mile run.
So I usually swim 3 days a week, I bike 4 days a week, and I run 4 days a week.
Hannah initially got into competitive running.
I always enjoyed being active. I love to lift weights and run mostly.
But nagging knee injuries slowed her down, so Kenneth stepped in.
My biggest fan.
I surprised her and got her a nice carbon road bike and told her, oh, you're going to do triathlons.
I was scared to death the first year of doing triathlons, and then I just discovered that it was something that I really love to do.
Hannah hasn't looked back since. She's been competing for the last 5 years and has a lot of hardware to show for it.
This was my first half Ironman, 70.3.
She trains every day.
I watch TV. That helps a lot.
But it has taken a toll this year. She's battled through Achilles, shoulder, and plantar fasciitis injuries preparing for the Half Ironman.
I had to take 7 weeks off of running, and I didn't even know if I would be able to do any more races at all this year.
But with this unique opportunity, Hannah is determined to ride it out.
I'll keep going until I can't do it anymore. One of my favorite phrases is, and I have it in my workout room, says, one day I will not be able to do this, but today is not that day.
She hopes to finish in the top half of her age group this weekend, but no matter the outcome, this everyday mom.
That was awesome.
Is mommy a lot of fun?
Yeah.
I've never let my training or my races interfere with any of my kids' activities.
Will have the support of her family
And you both have gymnastics Wednesday.
every step of the way.
We're just so proud to see her there. We can't wait to see how she does.
In Miamisburg, Reggie Wilson, Fox 45 News.
Very good.
All right. Uh-oh. All right. Okay. All right. So that was a story that aired about Tuesday. It aired on Tuesday. So I went and shot that story on Sunday before work, and put it together on Monday, and it aired on Tuesday. What did you guys think? It's cool. Did it make you all feel like you all needed to get your lives? Because it made me feel like I was not doing enough in life right now. Yeah, it made me tired just watching. But those are some of the things that I do. I report during the week and then I anchor on the weekends. So I'll open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions about what people in my field do? Anybody? Nobody?
Know your questions. Come on.
Oh, you can ask me anything. What do you got? What's up?
Did you play any sports like in high school or college?
Okay, so my deal was I used to play football, and I played not play, but I did track and field too. I was a thrower, and so my thing was I always got injured. I was a big injury prone, I was a mess. But I always had like a nagging knee injury or like let's see, I broke my ankle one time, and I broke my ankle in PE one time. I went up to I was one of those super competitive dudes. So this dude went up for a layup and I blocked it and I came down on my ankle wrong and it was bad. So that ended up taking away my whole season pretty much. So I thought it was much more safe to just watch people, do their thing and not, get involved myself. So yeah, no sports.
What's the biggest event you've covered?
The biggest event I have covered. So I was at the K in Kansas City when the Royals clinched to go to the World Series. So that was pretty big. And then what was it last year? Yeah, last year I was in Denver when the Broncos beat the Steelers to play the Patriots before they went to the Super Bowl, and Peyton Manning's last year. So that was pretty cool too. Anybody else?
What's the hardest part about your job?
That's a good question. Honestly, probably the time management. Obviously, the performance part is pretty hard. I was telling the last class, you never really stop being nervous, because it's not a natural thing to just be on TV. So it's something that you just always have to practice and always just have to get those reps in to pretty much just refine yourself. So performing on TV, that's pretty difficult at times. I stumble quite a bit on my words, so it's not always smooth. But just time management, like I said, on Sunday I went and shot that story, but then I had to make sure I gave myself enough time to put together the sportscast for 6 o'clock. So yeah, I would say probably the time management and performing.